Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session today. So nice to have you all here today. I know some of you are tuning in from different parts of the world, so thanks a lot for making the time for this session. Our session today is called How AI Agents Streamed the Delivery Cycle from Acceptance Criteria to Code. My name is Tharindra. Today I have a companion with me. Hi, Jahzan.
Hi, Tharindra.
Yes. So the session today that we both of us thought it will be a kind of a casual discussion. He is sitting next to me. A kind of a casual discussion where we are going to discuss on how we have adapted AI into our delivery cycle. Both of us are working for a customer in Norway, and there's a huge demand for kind of you have so much of competition in the market, so you have to bring the deliveries to the market very fast. This is where we thought we should know about how we can bring the things the fast delivery using AI agents.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
Jason.
yeah, so what are we going to talking about? Isn't it about the innovating something? So I'm just to start off stuff, Tharindra and you guys, I personally feel this. Have you all ever thought that the ideas is so saturated now, so that we can't invent something? Have you ever felt it? Because
Yes.
I because I always feel that I should have born somewhere like around 500 600 years back. So there was something for us to there was so many things for us to invent, right? Because we think of an idea now, it's we can't innovate because it's so saturated. But just we are in the golden era of AI, right? So using AI, we take the old processes that we have, like the usual day-to-day stuff that we do, put AI. You are an innovator. So today we are going to talk something about an innovation. Maybe we can call it an innovation, yeah, for sure. Something that me and Tharindra did, right?
Yes, Jason. I think for the benefit of everyone who is joining today, because there can be developers, there can be QAs, there can be someone who are not from the technical background. To make it easy for everyone, we thought of starting from somewhere that everyone is kind of understand the process. The typical process of a software development life cycle. Uh, for everything, for every delivery, there should be a new idea generated. This is how the things comes up. So usual process is the customer or maybe someone else who is using the application comes up with a new idea. Then what happens is customer communicates the idea to the team, the development team, the very high level idea. Hey, I have an idea with me. Shall we do? And this is the way that I want to get it done. Then what happens is the development and the QA team both together do the development and testing part, and finally release to the production. This is very high level of how we usually deliver the products. But you see, there are a lot of issues. Jasan, if you can remember the
We
old
always have
days,
issues.
right? So this,
Before that, Tharindra,
yeah,
we just have to say them, right? So you guys know. Sorry to interrupt, Tharindra. Is it okay? Right. Yeah. So you guys know how software development teams work, right? So here at 99x, we have so many teams. We have so many projects, and me and Tharindra, we work for a team. So we serve. So that is a company in Norway. So I don't think it's good enough for us to say the name. Yeah, just so it's a company, and we take care of their development stuff, right? And so here we have quite a number of good developers and QAs. So we do the development and the QA test it, and that's how the process will go. So that Tharindra and myself will be going into that. So in that, it's always me and Tharindra who works together in a certain area, right? And we can say that we have a very good sync on how we work and how we think, right? So that's what Tharindra said. Like we work together, and I have always given him troubles because I'm the developer and he's a QA. He does the testing, right?
yes. Thanks, Jasan, so for the that introduction about how we do the work. But as I mentioned, there were a lot of post-production issues we got. And there were some requirement misunderstandings, which led us to have a lot of rework between developer and QA. Then finally, we saw the cost of poor code is very high due to this rework effort. This is where then we've thought, okay, we need to kind of change our approach. And we wanted to optimize the process in a way where we wanted to shift the quality towards the left side of the process. Where we started, the customer initially started the detailed requirement discussions with both QA and developer involved. So then both of them have idea on what to test and what to develop. Then after getting the idea from the customer, we started with this internal discussion between dev and QA. Then finally, we kind of reviewed it by the customer. And this is where we had two approaches, where development team started on technical analysis and the QA team started on acceptance criteria writing. So if you want kind of I briefly explain how we write acceptance criteria is basically it's a kind of very descriptive way of explaining the requirement in a way the developer will understand the feature and minimize the errors. So let me show you how acceptance criteria we do usually is basically we usually mention the requirement in brief and why we want this feature, what is the current problem, because for each feature there should be a problem, why what we are going to solve. And then what is the value proposition we are going to gain out of it. And then we discuss about the impacted areas of the product and what are the impacted roles, what are the requirement details, and the non-functional requirements, the testing scope, and the out of scope. So all these things, as QAs, we started to write in detail before the developer starts development work. Maybe Jahzan, you can quickly explain what is technical analysis that you are doing at the moment, so then they will understand before going to the next step. So then we can see how we're going to improve that.
All right. Yes. So as Tharindra mentioned, what we do is we get the requirement, the QA writes the acceptance, and after that, before going into the development, what the developer does is the developer goes through the acceptance written by the QA and then write the technical analysis. So technical analysis is like, we can say it is the Bible that we take for the development, right? So it is nothing much. It's just, so this is the process that we follow, right? Again, guys, this is not the improvement that we did. This is, so what we're explaining now is how we work in the past, right? This is the usual work that, you know, many teams they follow. So technical analysis is just a simple text file. So what we do here is by looking at the diagram and the developer know like what are the technicalities that should go in and like what are the repositories that needs to be uh, considered and what are the changes, what are the modifications that needs to be done, what are the new code that we need to write. So everything the developer will be like have a small sketch like here. So main functions, like what are the new.
Jahzan, just sorry to interrupt. Can we just make it zoom in the screen that the audience can see? Nice,
All right.
great,
Yeah. Okay.
awesome.
So you guys won't be like, no need to understand the whole like inside what it is, right? But just get an idea. Technical analysis is something like we write it before that we do the development, just to make sure that this is what we are going to do. And while developing, we can just keep it in idea, right? And we also put the hours that we will be needing here for the tech development, 44 hours and all this stuff. So after writing the technical analysis, what we do is we give it to our lead and the lead review it and they will come up with some changes. So here you can see some changes and improvements that have been marked by my lead. Yeah, so that is technical analysis, Tarindra.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jasan. So then I think now you have an idea how the process was before kind of this kind of involvement of AI. But as mentioned by Jasan and myself, both these tasks are time consuming. The more you spend time on assuring the quality at the left side of the process takes a lot of time, and you know that will make us kind of delayed bringing the products to the market. And in the market, all of our customer wants to bring our product to the market very quickly or sooner than possible because you want to fail fast if you're going to fail, right? This is where we thought, Why can't we do something where we can kind of improve the process and reduce the time?
Because guys, like here, like from Tharindra mentioned, the requirement gathering to technical analysis writing. So that part is the part where we want it to be like perfect. So we spend so much of time to make it perfect, then the technical analysis will be perfect. Then after that, it's just a matter of developing, right? If the technical analysis is very accurate, anyone can look at it and develop, right? Yeah. So that is what we are talking from the process that we have till we do the technical analysis.
Yes. Now, there's a story behind this. I think this why this how this story kind of this idea got ignited is basically, I can say, Jazan, if you can remember, it's Google Gemini. If you are using Google Meets for your meetings, you might have noted how Gemini has improved the process of taking meeting minutes. It's not just recording what you're saying, but it summarizes the discussion. It brings some main topics into the table, and it even jot down all the decisions we have taken and the tasks. So let me show you an example which got kind of me to do this. So this is a small meeting we had where we discussed the requirement for a particular feature. So it says what we discussed in the summary and the detail of the discussion. Now this ignited me. If Google Gemini can generate the summary of the discussion and kind of log everything we discussed, why can't we take this as a source and get someone to prepare the acceptance criteria on behalf of us rather than taking our QAs to generate this document? Because usually writing acceptance takes some time because you have to listen to the meeting recordings again, then you have to gather the requirements again and write it in a way that everybody can understand. So then we were looking for a perfect person who can do this for us, and this is where we found an AI agent who can do this work. So let me show you how we have done it. Basically, you know that everyone is familiar with VS Code. I think everyone is familiar with that. Rather than waiting for someone to bring us a platform or a process on how we can do that, so we thought of, okay, let's start something somewhere from scratch where we can expedite our process. So here, what we came up with is that we we just wanted to check, can't we take the meeting minutes and can't we take the acceptance criteria template that we are using, give it to agent, ask them to prepare the acceptance criteria for us. So a very small solution, a very easy solution, what we have are using at the moment is that, so basically, as you can see, it's very easy. You have a folder called acceptance template where I have saved the acceptance template in the MD file format, right? You might ask why I specifically select MD5 format, not just text or not just PDF. Um, uh, Likewise. So here, this is the reason for having MD file format here is that agent is able to understand well on the formattings, indents, and everything, and get the instructions correctly, right? So what we did was that if you can remember the template I showed you, I took it as MD file like this. So whatever the mentioned things you saw in the slide, and then I had another folder called generated acceptance criteria. This is where I store the acceptance criteria that a agent generates. And then I had a folder called meeting notes, which I have the new and the completed ones. It's very easy. What I do now is, as soon as a meeting is over, I just download this. Sorry, 1 second. I just download the MD file markdown format and then feed it into the new folder. Then I give instructions to the agent. So this is where you have to be very careful on giving instructions. So it's like you are training a new intern, I would say, right? you know that whenever a new intern joins your team, you give instruction from the beginning how it happens and everything. So the same way, the more the clear instruction, the better output you can get from the agent. So this is where I explain the instructions to the agent. Basically, I explain him your role is to read the new meeting notes in the new folder under meeting notes folder and generate the acceptance criteria based on the acceptance criteria template I had given under the acceptance template folder. Then I specifically request the agent generate the acceptance criteria in MD file format with a meaningful name and store it under generated acceptance criteria folder with a subfolder. So then you can have subfolders for each meetings. And for the subfolder, you need to give a meaningful name. Meanwhile, you are generating an MD file. I wanted to get a PDF version too. So the likewise, we do it, right? Then I give other criterias on how to kind of do the acceptance criteria generation, because sometimes you will see, we noted that when they are generating acceptance criteria, they are making like 4-5 pages of acceptance criteria. So then you have to kind of specifically mention, do not make it lengthy, make it summarize, and do it in a way that everybody can understand. So you have to give specific criteria on how to generate acceptance criteria. So after doing this, there are no magic. Basically, what I need to tell is, basically I have to tell the agent, uh, do the task mentioned in the instructions. That is it. Uh, I wanted to do the demo at the moment, but with the network bandwidth issues, I will not do it at now. But at the end of the session, I will do it so that we can take some time if we have time permitted. Then
Yeah.
we can do the demo. But I will show before running doing the presentation today. I did this, so I can show you. Basically, I mentioned do the task mentioned in the instructions. So it start reading the files, everything, and it generated the PDFs and everything. And you can see it divided the actions into four tasks, like generate the acceptance criteria, then they created the subfolder, then they generated the PDF version, then they moved the meeting notes into into the completed folder. So this is what I have completed. But let's see how it is. So this is the output basically. So as you can see, so the generated acceptance criteria has a folder, subfolder as I requested. And then finally, I have 3 versions, MD format version, PDF version, and the HTML version. So you might have noted all the discussion points I had given has been now fed into the template I wanted. Basically, it clearly mentioned what is the requirement in brief and what is the current implementation and problems we had, and what is the value proposition, and the functionality. What are the impacted modules? What are the impacted user roles? And requirement detail. How should we implement this here? You can see all the implementation details are there, and the testing scope. What for the QAs, what to test and what not to test, and the reasons why. Right. So you see, it's a matter of 5 minutes for me. Rather than spending 2-3 hours of time understanding the things and generating the acceptance criteria, now what I have to do is I have to go through this acceptance generated by the AI agent and then just review it and modify the contents and update my PBI. This is
Yeah.
how the acceptance part has been improved. Maybe Jasan, you can share how the technical analysis part got improved by AI agent.
All right. So now Tarindra has, he did an experiment from getting the requirements to the acceptance, right? So when I was about to experiment this on technical analysis, I never know that he was doing all this stuff. So one day, what I wanted to do is I really hate writing technical analysis because I just have to get a Google Doc and write code on it. It's like oh, like school days, right? I don't like it. So what I wanted to do is I copied down. So whenever I wanted to do PBI for me to write the technical analysis, what I did was I just took copied down the contents of the acceptance, which has already been done. not what Tharindra created, right? Because I never knew that he was doing all this stuff. So the previous method, they write the technical analysis. So they write the acceptance, right? So I got it as like what Tharindra mentioned. I gave it to the agent, you know, and then we will be having a technical discussion meeting with my lead, right? So I put that info as well, and I asked the agent to generate the technical analysis on its own. And I was so shocked because the technical analysis generated by the agent was that good, right? So I'll just skim through it. So this is the name of it, and then it will change. It showed like what are the code changes that needs to be done, like exact point, like to what are the code that needs to be like what files that needs to be changed and everything, right? Even it shows both the files and what are the changes, everything, right? Has everything, and also it gave me the estimation, all this stuff. So you must be thinking whether is it accurate. So I will come to that point later because it is so accurate, right? So I did this, and then I was like, all right, I have done something like very cool. It's always like whenever I get an idea, it's always that I go to Tarindra and I tell him that I have done this. So when I went and told him that I have done this, he was so shocked because he was saying, bro, that I was also doing some the same thing for acceptance writing, and we thought, why can't we both merge it together? So his agent doing the acceptance writing and my agent writing the technical analysis from the acceptance. If we can merge it together, it's going to be like a proper AI flow, right, Tarindra? Cool.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So, Jasan, would you like to kind of talk about what kind of gaining that you got out of this, or you would want me to kind of discuss about what we are planning to go as the next step?
No, first I'll show them like how are we doing it now and like
Yeah,
how we can improve it, right? Yeah, cool.
go ahead. Yeah.
Cool. So you can see my screen, right? All right. So end of the day, what we achieved is requirement gathering to delivery. It was a good process, small issues, but it was a very time consuming process, right? But now with requirement gathering using AI, the time is very much shrinked. All right. So I'll quickly show like everything that we talked in picture, right? I'll zoom in and show. So this is the requirement gathering to delivery production, right? So we call it as like whenever new feature that comes, we call it a PBI. It's a product backlog item. And also we get bugs, right? So whenever that comes, as Tarindra said, we take the grooming meeting, and then the QA writes the acceptance. This is the usual old school method, right? The QA writes the acceptance, and the dev, while the QA writes the acceptance, what the dev does is dev has technical meeting with their lead, and with the outcome by looking at the acceptance, what the dev does is writes the technical analysis, right? So that's what I showed you. So coming up from here to here, you can see the number of hours that I'll come to that later, right? So we write the technical analysis and we get it reviewed by the lead, right? So after getting reviewed and after the changes are done, the technical analysis is solid. We do the development, all right? And after doing the development, we put the change to QA, the QA environment, and then the QA test it. And if there are some bugs, functional bugs, it will be going like assigned to the dev. The dev does the rework, then the QA, do the testing again, and then after everything is done, we put it to staging and we put it to production, right? So here, what is the problem is the time, and also you can see the bugs, right? So just see, for each and every meeting we spend around 1.5 an hour. So guys, all this time that I have put are very realistic because this time I took one example of a development from a feature that I developed, and I went through the meetings and looked at the time that we spent. So that's how I put all the time. So these are like very accurate, right? So for each and every meeting, we spend around 1.5 an hour usually. And to write the acceptance, it takes around 4 hours, you know. and for the developer to go through the acceptance, half an hour, and then to write the technical analysis spends around 3 hours. Then the lead takes around um, half an hour each to review it, and the main most consuming time part is the development, right? So for that particular PBI, I spent around 20 hours of development, and then like the QA, after testing it for 2 hours, the QA, like as I already told you, like I always annoy Tharindra with functional bugs, right? So he assigned two functional bugs. Again, these two functional bugs that came in that real situation, right? Two functional bugs. And again, to fix those bugs, I had to work for another 4 more hours. So you can see like 4 hours, here 20 hours, 1/5 of an actual development time I have spent again just to do the rework, right? It just in vain. So after the rework, now the QA doesn't have the trust for the developer. Before only 2 hours of testing, now after these two bugs, now the QA is more concerned about the developer's stuff. So the QA spends another 3 more hours and do the testing properly and test all the scenarios. All good. Again, it goes to staging and to the production, right? So for all this stuff, we have spent around 41 good hours. Is it worth it? Yeah, it was before the era of AI, but it is not good anymore, right? So now everything what we mentioned, we were able to shrink it down. The same process using AI, we were able to shrink it for 25.5 hours. So now currently what we have adapted and what we have started doing is, soon after a PBI or a bug comes, what we do is we take two separate meetings, one after the other. We take it in the same time just to, streamline the process. So we take the grooming meeting with the QA, and then soon after that, we do the uh, technical analysis, right? So guys, I know the questions have been like put in the Q&A. We make sure that we answer it at the very end, because right. So soon after this, we take two of these meetings, and so after the meeting, it takes around 15 to 20 minutes for the Gemini to create the meeting minutes, right? So that is what we used before to generate the acceptance and the technical analysis. So we take the meeting, it automatically generates the grooming and the technical discussion. As soon as it gets generated, we use AI, and with this particular grooming meetings, Gemini meeting, the acceptance will be automatically created of what Tharindra did, right? And once the acceptance is ready with what I did, by looking at the acceptance and by the outcome of this technical discussion, we can automatically generate the technical analysis, right? So soon after this meeting, here you can see, just to arrive at the technical analysis point, we had to spend around like 1.5, 1.53, 6, 10, 10.5 hours of work to arrive in the technical analysis, again, which had flows, which brought these two bugs. But here, it's just the matter of spending 2 hours of meeting, and within 20 minutes, the technical analysis will be generated automatically by the agent, right? So again, we didn't want to follow this blindly, because still AI can make some mistakes. We still do the review from our leads. We spend around 1 hour, and the dev has to go through it, and then we do the development again, the same 20 hours. So there is no improvement has been done for the developer. He's just the same old developer, 20 hours. But here you can see that the rework, I have removed it. Why? Because the technical analysis that the agent generated, it already predicted the errors that might arise. So that is what Shock does when using. So we already had this issue. We generated the technical analysis using AI. So like while doing it, we were having second thoughts whether it will be accurate or not. But so we did the same experiment on the same uh, PBI that we have already worked. So we know that it gave two bugs, right? So, but after looking at the technical analysis, I'll show it in this. So this is what it gave, right? So here, yes, here in the high risk and the medium risk, it gave us two risk. So these are the two exact bugs that we got as rework here. So that we were in super shock, because if we had used that, we should have omitted that extra 7 hours, this 4 hours of extra rework, and this 3 hours of extra, retesting. So it's cool, right? So this is what we are talking about, the improvement that we can bring along with using AI agent. So by looking at this, here you can see from 41 hours, we can limit it to 25.5 hours. Okay, so we'll do the math. Uh, Talking about the numbers per task, uh, before I have spent around 41 hours, and after the improvement, we only have spent around 25.5 hours. So that's around 38% of improvement, because it's saving around 15.5 hours, right? So scaling it into 10 tasks into 10 developers, before we'll be spending around 4,100 hours, and now we are reducing it to almost 2,550 hours, right? So that's around, we can save 39 almost work weeks. So Tharindra, can you quickly tell them about the sprint that you work, so they can, relate it to this?
Yes, usually our sprint goes as I think Jasan had mentioned in the view also, that we have 2 week sprints. Where beginning of the sprint we take the tasks in, nothing but the features or the bugs with the capacity. So we kind of have a capacity per day. Then we have capacity for the entire sprint, and based on that we take the things in.
Hmm, cool. So we work for a 2 week sprint, right? So we put the same numbers here. So before we were able to spend around, so one developer will be able to spend around 2 tasks on 2 weeks, right? So after this improvement, so one developer can spend like finish 3 tasks, around 3 tasks. So if we take the numbers into 10 developers, we can imagine in one particular sprint, I mean in one particular 2 weeks of time frame, if we were able to deliver around 20 tasks, now after this improvement using AI, we will be able to uh, deliver around 30 tasks. That's around 10 extra tasks for the sprint. So that is the improvement that we are talking about. So end of the day, by integrating AI agents into the delivery, we can, the sprint delivery percentage, we can increase it by 50%. Okay. So I have some questions here. So Tarindra, to make it more interactive, shall we like
Yes, I
go
think you
through
can
the
we can take the questions in, Jasan, before going to the next step. I think.
exactly, exactly. So can you, yeah. So one person has asked, great work. I'm curious about how agent determine the dev effect and whether agent use previous task as a reference when estimating, right? So here, the experiment that we did, we didn't have any extra knowledge we fed into that. But here you can see, uh, so this is uh, a realistic example that I told, right? So here we exactly spent around 41 hours, okay? But the same PBI, the same thing, we generated the, like after doing it, we generated the technical analysis. So here you can see the estimation it gave 52 hours, but that is, considering the testing and the documentation. So by omitting this testing hours and documentation, imagine 8 plus 3, it's 11. So remove 11 from here, it's 40, right? So it's very, very realistic. But yeah, again, if we can, like, we have to find a mechanism that we can, uh, you know, train the agent more. So it will be like very much, how do you call it, personalized to each developer as well, right? So not all the developers, they work in the same a time frame and with the same capability, right? So we can enhance it more by feed in the agent with that particular developer's past estimation of past time that that particular person has spent for that task. So it will be more realistic for that particular developers.
Jahzan, we have another question asked.
Yes. How did you set the context for technical analysis? Yeah, again, that's it. So how do we set the context? We take uh, this one. The context is only this. So during the technical discussion, we talk out everything. So we talk the reports that needs to be involved. We talk about all the changes, all the clarifications, everything. So we forcefully we talk about the repositories that needs to be changed as well. So we don't need to tell the agent that these are the reports that needs to be targeted like manually. So it's just a matter of giving this Google Gemini meeting discussion, like of this technical discussion and this grooming. So with this grooming meetings, Gemini recording, Gemini note, it will have all the domain idea. And with this, it will have all the technical idea. And it has the repositories which needs to be there. So what we do is so I have all the repositories in my local machine, right? So here, when I go here, this thing, and so these are the all repositories that I work on. So what I do is I make it as a Visual Studio workspace. I open all the repositories at one using my VS Code, and then I use the agent there. So it has the, you know, it can go through all the repositories and find the code on its own.
Yeah.
Yep.
The same thing, I think, to make it more accurate for that question, I can answer. To make it more accurate, but in the acceptance criteria also, Jahzan, we did was we asked the QA members. Now we know the template of the acceptance criteria. So we first describe the brief about the acceptance, then we discuss about why we need this and what is the value we added. So what we have commanded or kind of given the guide to the team is that when you are discussing the requirement in the meeting where Gemini is taking notes, go according to the acceptance criteria format.
Exactly.
Then Gemini will also generate the meeting notes in a way that agent will make it easy for him to generate the acceptance criteria,
All right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as an example, if we don't talk about the value proposition, then agent will not be able to know what is the value proposition. So we kind of have some checklist. When you are having a requirement discussion, you need to check about why we need this, right? Then what is the business value it gonna add, the value proposition, and what are the out of scope areas. So when we are talking about all these things, the Gemini takes every meeting note and that will be fed to the agent and he knows, okay, what to fill in the template.
Yeah. And
So
also small point that we noted, like whenever we take this technical discussion or grooming, at some point we feel comfortable and then we started talking in our very own mother tongue. Then the it still it generates it correctly, but still like we ask the developers and the QAs to keep the uh, meeting talking in English like from the first to start till the recording is on. So the Gemini, like the notes will be even more accurate. So those are the small points that we like, to that we follow to make it super accurate, right? So if you guys have any more doubts or any questions, you guys just can drop it in the chat.
yeah, there are a few more questions. Maybe we can talk about the next step. What our plan next is, Jahzan. Then I think meantime you can have a look into the question Q&A part and we can proceed further. So let me share my screen again. Yes. So the next step that we are planning to do is that that what I have shared with you is kind of not fully automated using an agent. There's a human intervention. Kind of you need to get the documents downloaded from the email, then fed it into VS Code, then ask the agent to do it, and kind of those. There are so much of things. So the next step that we are planning to do is basically, why can't we get the agent to listen to the Gmail.
You
And
mean to streamline the process, right?
yes, it is. So basically, listen to the email sent by Gemini and see what are the new emails. So they, basically, usually when we are kind of taking a meeting for acceptance criteria, we usually have the meeting heading with acceptance criteria. Then what is the meeting name? So then we can give the agent look for any email from Gemini with the prefix acceptance criteria grooming or something. Then take that email. Then it has the link to the Google Doc. Then you can click on the Google Doc, download it, read the contents, and then generate the acceptance criteria. Now, once the acceptance criteria is done, just on as I mentioned, we need some human intervention to make sure that the acceptance criteria is correct,
Just
because
to validate it,
just to
right?
validate what AI has generated is correct. This is where we are working in Slack. This is where we can have a kind of automated process in Slack where agent can put a message in the Slack saying, okay, now this document is ready for review. This is where you can just click the button, do a manual review of the document and indicate this is done. Then the agent is able to get the review document. Why can't it basically, we are using Azure DevOps. Then why can't we take that review document and put them into the PBIs directly rather than
Hmm.
we go and copy the content and edit it. So this is the next step that we have in pipeline. We are kind of automate the entire flow in a way, starting from drafting the acceptance, then review them and add it to the PBI.
All right.
Yeah. From your side,
So
just anything that you have to share?
yes, so I have one more thing to show. So like this is what Tharindra said. If we streamline the process, so currently we haven't streamlined it, right? So we only do it in a local machine using VS Code. But this is the exact picture that how it will look if we streamline it. We take the meeting, 20 minutes, we have the technical analysis. And this is, and again, we haven't adapted this into our current day-to-day life, right? Because still we follow this, still we follow this. This is the idea, and like we somewhat take agents. This is still in the conceptual stage, right? But we don't want to, wait till we fully adapt this and to move into more innovation, right? So now what we are trying to do is, so currently we stop at the point where we create this technical analysis. After that, it's everything manual, right? The development still the 20 hours is there. But there was another suggestion came from my lead how we can improve this further, and again this worked, right? So again we do the same thing. Gemini creates the acceptance, and without creating the technical analysis, now what we are trying to do is, by using the acceptance, by using the technical discussion point, instead of creating the technical analysis, what we ask the agent to generate is the prompt itself. So it will give a document with a prompt, again, that we can give it to the agent to generate the code itself, right? So that flow is this, right? So again, this is something AI generates, and with this, the development process also, we are going to get some AI. So again, now, so currently we still use AI, right? So we code, we get the support from ChatGPT, or we get the support from Copilot. That's how we develop, right? We are not talking about that. So this is even before the developer starts to develop, there will be a level of code that it has been already generated by AI. Okay, so we take the meeting again. I'm just not like going again and again. I'm just like telling you all to like get the idea of it, right? We take this meeting, acceptance will get created, and then with the acceptance, it is not the technical analysis but the prompt for the code generation. And again, by using this prompt, the AI will get this prompt and do, I mean, half or like most of the development itself, right? For small PBI we tested, it does the development fully, and we just needed to do the testing, right? Again, in the future we will go to an extent that the text testing will also, fully automated, so we don't need to worry about anything. But for now, for small PBIs, the development will be fully done. For very big ones, up to certain level, we were able to see that the code AI generated is like very good enough for us to continue over. So with that, again, we don't need to spend around. So this is just hypothetical. We don't need to spend that 20 hours of development. We just have to spend the extra code development or some changes or some bug fixes we need to be done. 10 hours of spending. So with that, we think that we can again reduce the time from 25 hours to like 12.5. That's another 50% of time reduction. So this again, I did an example today. So what I did was, so this is the grooming meetings. I don't know how I can zoom it, but okay, you zoomed it. All right. Again, guys, you don't need to like go through in depth and read everything. Just grasp the idea. Okay. So this is what I did. So this is the requirement gathering meeting, the Gemini notes of the requirement gathering meeting that we have. So I had that in a folder, and the technical discussion meeting that I had, okay, in a folder. And what I asked, and also I opened, so just to limit the AI from going through all the repos, what I did was I only opened the repos which there I know that the code changes needs to be done for that particular PBI, which I've already discussed in the technical discussion, right? So I have the requirements notes and I have the technical notes. No human intervention up to now. I have the repos. Then I ask the agent, okay? So you can't read it, right? Because it's too small. So I'll just go through. So I asked the agent, I'm going to do a feature development in my system. And I have two meetings with my lead. And one is this, I have linked it. And one technical discussion, I have linked it. So by going through the above documents, just make the changes. And I have also copied down some notes that I written on my paper, right? Okay. So by giving that, it just go through all the code and this is the prompt that it gave. So the next step, what I will do is, again, I will take this, only prompt is enough. I will take this prompt, I will keep this stuff, and I will ask the agent to, generate the code itself. So here you can see the business requirement has been like properly mentioned, and the technical approach has been mentioned, and also implementation strategy has been mentioned. So it's asking me to like create 3 domain services, all the code changes, you know and feature toggle implementation, and it also tells me like what are the unit tests that I have to read, write, everything, risk mitigation, and it also gives a checklist. Okay, so the next step here is giving this prompt to the agent, and the agent does the development, and what I have to do is only make some changes and some code reviews to get the thing done. So this is the future that we see for now. Anything from your side, Tarindra?
Yeah, no, I think this was something new to me because you created it today, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, yeah. So thanks, Jazan, for that too. And I think, Jazan, there are two more questions that you have to answer from the Q&A
Yes.
section.
Yes. So as a agent, what LLM model? So currently what we use is, normally what I use is Claude Sonnet 4 or 4.5, because like I got the access to 4.5 recently, but we saw like a very good improvement when using 4.5, right? So currently we
I
only
use the
have
same.
yeah.
Yeah.
So currently you guys must have access to like many more models, but for now, for my experiment, I think Cloud Sonnet 4.5 doing its job well.
And we have one more question.
Great job. How do you apply, share your learnings across the teams at 99x? Yes. So 99x, we can say like
Yeah.
we don't like, again. So this idea that we came up with, right? So I told it to my leads, and the leads, they didn't even just neglect, or just they only wanted to keep it in my team. So soon after this, what we wanted is we wanted to tell this idea to, like, company wide, because it's good, right, if all the teams adopt to this. But for our, like, fortunate, 99x organized a hackathon. Like it's not a hackathon. Like
It's a AI
it's an
hackathon.
ideathon. So there we presented this idea. So that is one way that we do. So 99x organizes ideathon, and then we have like this session we have some internal sessions as well. So we do that. And what else, Tarindra?
Yeah, so there we have some monthly forums where we
Monthly
share
forum.
our expertise with the others, the webinars as such, and the hackathons and the ideathons, as you mentioned. So, but and even we can share kind of hands-on sessions we do sometimes within QA team, within the development team on what we have done.
Hmm.
So this is how we usually share our knowledge. I think myself and Jasan, we were able to kind of ignite something in you that you can do in your project. As I mentioned, and as Jasan mentioned, we wouldn't say that this is something the ultimate, the optimal solution that a person can come up with. This is something that we both of us are no kind of not people kind of person that who are into AI, right? We are still kind of playing with the things and trying to see how we can improve the process using of AI and looking into the things. So we are kind of interested and get to know how you guys are also coming up with maybe something more optimum and a very good solution, maybe something that we have come up with more than something we have come up with.
Yeah. And guys, like,
Yes,
please shoot in the questions if you guys have any, because we are running out of time. And like small, how do you call small advice, or maybe like I'm not that old to give, advices to you guys. But then like what I feel is we should think out of the box, because we can say like 2 3 years back, not very far, 2 3 years back, being a developer like who can code well is a good developer. But at this point where we have very good AI agents, being a developer is not good, right? Because it won't take you anywhere. You will be replaced, yeah, for sure, because even we showed that that yeah, AI is taking everything over. So please make sure that you guys use all these AI stuff, and then try to invent something. Try your very best to involve AI in with anything and everything that you guys do, so you can be like you can stand out from all the others out there.
yes. With that, I think we can wrap up the session for today. And as I mentioned, hope you have learned something with another interesting session on these interesting areas like AI. We will meet you again. Have a nice evening to all of you. Thank you very much, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.